Hey, it's David here from Danny's, and today we're going to be looking at the complete starter kit for wine. So the complete starter kit, we have sort of two versions. We have the 6-gallon and we have the 5-gallon. The only difference between the 6-gallon and the 5-gallon is the carboy. So just because sometimes people are making fresh juice or they're making some sort of a fruit wine recipe kit, that's why we have, this is the 5-gallon, which is just a little bit smaller than the 6-gallon, but everything else in terms of equipment is the same. So the only difference is the carboy size, just to be aware of that. So we're going to get through this sort of what comes with the complete winemaking kit and give you some tips and tricks and why we chose the things that we did. We spent a lot of time thinking about what it was going to look like and what is the most essential things that you would need. So to start off, we have a 24-liter bucket, food grade bucket with a snap-on lid. Inside we have a pre-drilled hole with an airlock and a number 6 bung. That way you have a fermentation vessel in which you're fermenting. You're going to have a fill line where you put a little bit of water in and it'll bubble. So this is your fermentation vessel. And then we have the carboy, the plastic carboy that we have here. And this one here in particular is the 6-gallon, the 23-liter. And then we have, of course, the 5-gallon kit, which is the 5-gallon or 20-liter. This 23-liter has markings. So there's a marking where it shows what exactly is 23 liters, as well as it has a marking here for both 5-gallon and 10 liters, 3-gallon. So again, just because you have a 23-liter vessel, sometimes you don't want to have that airspace if you're doing a 5-gallon batch. So it's really important that when you're transferring over wine, you don't want to have a lot of space. Think of it as like having a bottle of wine. You drink half the bottle of wine and then you leave it out to rest. That airspace makes that wine taste not so great over time. The same thing happens with this. So that's why it's important to make sure you choose the right carboy for what you're making. So if you're doing a wine kit, generally in a box, from a box, generally they're 23 liters. If you're doing it, and that's generally the case where that's why the 23 liters is used. When you're doing it from a juice or a fruit wine recipe, generally those are 5 gallons or 20 liters. So just be aware of the differences between the two. Okay, so we're going to go through the stages, which is fermentation. So we have our fermentation bucket, and then here we have carboy. I'm going to actually bring this out of camera, and I'm going to show you what we have inside this bucket. So here, and we have a basic starter kit. In this one we have a complete, has a wine thief, and this wine thief, what it allows you to do is take samples and then have the sample, whether it be for your hydrometer, which you can see is inside here, which is a color hydrometer that works for both for unfermented alcohol. So whether it be wine or beer, this will work. You can take a sample like this and pour it back in. So it's got a little valve here, and what's also good about this is if you have the carboy, it fits inside the carboy as well. So instead of you siphoning off, putting in for a sample, this is a very easy way of capturing a sample very quickly. So that's the reason why we added this wine thief. It's very, very handy. And then in comparison to our basic starter kit, we also have an auto siphon and with a clamp. So this auto siphon, what it does is you're able to pull and press down, and then the siphon automatically starts, auto siphon. This is gravity fed still, so you put it into the carboy or wherever it would be, and it's just a quick, easy pump, and then that starts the fill versus sucking and then putting it in, just for the contamination aspect. We also have a clamp on here as well to stop the flow. So if you have, we see it as like almost like an emergency brake. If you're, you got to stop, that's a great way to sort of stop the flow. And then the last thing we have here is something called the bottle filler. And how this works is the valve opens, and when you lift it, the valve closes. So you can go from bottle to bottle. It's really, really handy. So I'm going to give you an example here with the bottle, where you're going to connect this together here, and you're going to put this in. The bottle's going to fill with wine, of course, on the ground because you need gravity, but the bottle will fill, and then even when it gets to the top, you lift it and then the bottle filler will stop, and you can go from bottle to bottle without having any spillage or anything like that. And then it'll have enough space here so everything's uniform, and it'll have like a marking right here. Basically, once you remove this bottle filler, the space will have enough space here for the cork. So this is a really, really handy tool, well worth the money, and that's why we added it into this starter kit. And it's also, again, you can take it off, take it on, so you don't have to keep it on there when you're racking or transferring. So that's that part. We've also added in a stir spoon, so you can have your stir spoon this way, and if you have your Carboy, you're able to stir it like this as well. So that's really handy as well. So all handy tools that we've put in here. And I'm going to move this out of the way. And the most important thing you're going to find out with winemaking isn't the winemaking, it's the cleaning. So the amount of time you're spending when you look at it is going to be mostly cleaning versus anything else. So what we've added is we've added some no rinse cleaner. So you don't have to worry about it causing any issue if you leave some residual behind. We're adding 50 grams, and this does a gallon solution. And basically anything that the wine or the must touches, you want to rinse it through. The only thing I would add on if I was to buy something is I would add more of this. So I would add, we have I think a package of 250 grams of Acetox. We'll add it into the bottom of this product page, and you can buy one of those too. That's the only thing I would, because you're going to need more over time. And then going back to cleaning, so here we have an L brush. So this L brush, what it does is it cleans these ridges on the side. That seems to be the place where usually there's sediment that builds up, and this just allows it to be cleaned very, very easily. It's non-abrasive, so you don't have to worry about scratching anything on the plastic, which is really, really nice. And you can also go straight to the bottom or to the side. It's a really handy tool, and we're really happy with it. So going back to, I'm going to move this to the side here. With this starter kit as well, you're going to get 2 airlocks and 2 separate bungs. So that way you have one that you can always be fermenting, and you have another for your secondary. So you have two. You now have the capacity with just a simple add-on of an extra airlock and bung. You have 2 batches that can be going at the same time. So you have your starting fermentation, and then you have your secondary, and then you bottle your wine, and then you start another one, or sorry, you transfer into the secondary again. So you always have wine on the go, and nothing's empty. So that's always a good thing. Going back to cleaning, one thing we added was this blast. It's called a blast. It's basically added to any utility sink. So you just screw it on, and it creates a jet. So what it does is you attach this to your utility sink, and then you press down, and it sprays out. It works really, really well for all your bottles. If you have scuzz on your bottles, this is the first go-to thing to go for, even before you sterilize, just because it takes out all those. It's just a jet. Think of it as like a water jet of just for the bottle. So it works really, really good. Here is a monster cleaner, and what this does is you're going to add some solution into here. So whether you add a sterilizing solution or you're adding water if you want as well to rinse out. This works really, really well, and it comes with a little holder here, so it allows the ability to clean this as well, like so. So then you have the ability to just press this down, and it will jet up, almost like a fountain. It will jet up the solution or water that you have in here, and it also works. You can see right here there's a little ridge on the other side, and you can put that for bottles. So if you have your bottle, before you start bottling, it's a very easy way of cleaning bottles because it just coats the bottle versus you going bottle to bottle, you know, trying to sterilize as well as you can, and then moving from there. So really, really handy tool. We're really happy with this, and I guess building on that, so sort of the process in which we have this is you have a bottle tree. So when you're bottling, the most time-consuming things are cleaning and bottling. So we're trying to make it as easy as possible for you for your bottling. So you squirt this in, you put the rest of the bottle there, and it would drip dry down. This tray, actually, this bottle tray that's being added in here actually has a little drip valve that you can attach a little hose to, and it goes straight into a sink if you want, so you don't have to worry about overflow or anything. This is really, really well designed. We're really happy with both of these products. So you go from one, you put it on here, and then you let that stack up, and then you would go into bottling, and you have all your bottles ready to go. So all these tools, they're literally tools, will make your job so much faster, so much easier than if you're really committing to making wine. All these tools can be used over and over again. They're well worth the money. The only thing that you would have to add on in the future when you're making your wine would be corks and a corker. We have a hand corker or a floor corker. The other thing that I would look into in terms of add-ons in the future would be maybe like a Carboy mop. So instead of you manually doing it, we have a thing that sort of uses a drill. And then the other add-on that I would look at is we have something called a degasser, which works really well. And the last thing, if you really want to take it to the other level, is a filter machine. We have a mini jet filter, which makes everything crystal clear when it comes to winemaking. But overall, this is the starter kit. It gets you definitely going. It makes sure that you have all the tools that you would need from beginning to end in terms, and the most important thing is the sanitizing and cleaning. So it has all those tools for cleaning that, and this goes on top of here if you want to, for cleaning, because that's where you're going to spend most of your time, is in cleaning and bottling. The waiting is just anticipation, and everything else is gravy, which is having a glass of wine that you finish. Okay, good luck, and if you have any questions, leave a comment below in our YouTube channel, or give us a call if you're looking to purchase. We ship all over Canada, and we're here to help.